Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do start, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku. We also had Marcy. Now, these two have done a lot of things on their travels. They've been out in the wasteland for over a year. Now, they left their vault a year ago. For 5 of those months, they were being experimented on by the Enclave with their group. However, 7 months later, they are all out there. However, on this day, something bad happened. Him and Marcy, within their long adventures, they've been traveling for the last 2, 3 days. They went all the way from being in Westside to going to a medical clinic and then making the long journey down all the way to the Mojave Outpost, avoiding Quarry Junction and the death claws that are said to be held up there. However, when they went past the, highway patrol station, they found one of their former allies. They found Tommy. And Tommy, they later found out, he might have gone crazy. He was staying at a place where he was exposed to radiation, and this was a constant stream. After Izuku had to play the bait whenever they first saw him, Tommy shot 3 of Deku's fingers off. Marcy was able to get a lucky shot on him, and whenever she went to go finish the job, she realized who it was. After they went back to his place, they tried to convince him to leave it. This place is dangerous, but he was completely not listening to them. He just went off the deep end, and they had to defend themselves. Marcy tried to make sure Tommy was down. She hit him with the butt of her rifle multiple times. However, that didn't exactly take too easy. He was just laying there bleeding on the floor with his face a little caved in. His skull definitely fractured or broken. He'll heal from it, but I mean, he turned to cannibalism. He was in a mutated state, and he wasn't making any sense. She went to go mercy kill him, but Izuku, he took charge. He told her to go outside, since this was something he knew he could do, something that he knew he could live with. She didn't know Tommy before the vault. He did. And Deku, he put him down clean and painlessly, as much as he could. He took his Pip-Boy, took his battle rifle, and then he made sure to burn the evidence that Tommy was ever here. And that was where the two sat outside. Night fell, and they watched their friend's house burn, the place he thought was safe. And it put a lot of things into perspective about life out here. What someone might be willing to do to survive. And the two, they made their way back down to that patrol station. And that was a few hours ago. And Deku, he does sit there. The wind started to pick up. They don't know what's going to be happening, but they might need to get inside. It's going to be a little strange. Plus that fire, it might draw some unnecessary attention. So being far away from it is definitely good. I mean, if anyone asks, they didn't know. They don't know. So there's that. They barricaded the door. I mean, pushed some of the larger desks in front of it and made sure to lock them. They're stuck inside this building. They're safe. And that, it does cross their minds. They barricaded the door to the room they're inside of. Get through the first, they'll hear it pretty damn loudly. They'll have time to prepare and get things ready. Try and come through the next door, and it's barricaded again. They just sit here. Marcy's asleep, and he's not too sure what to do. He's just looking down at his back. The Pip-Boy was irradiated. Some of the data definitely might be corrupt, some of it unlegible. Tommy must have kept a log. Very early on, they need to get something from it. But going through it, I mean, after what they just went through, I mean, it doesn't feel right, but any information at all. The bastard was. The bastard ran out of luck. And that, it does annoy him. Currently, Deku, bring up his Pip-Boy before his turn. Currently looking at Marcy, who does lay next to him. They're both sitting against the wall. Though Deku, his eye does get a wander back up to that jail cell. Since stepping inside of it, I mean, it isn't an option. Locking themselves in for the night. It's a stupid fucking idea. They don't even like being inside this room. But it's to be safe. If anyone back in the vault knew what they were going through right now, they would probably just lock themselves underground for another century or two. Maybe those doors wouldn't open. It would have been nice. But then there's this. No. Just remember training. You have to make the log. You awake, Marcy? Him turning. And she does not give him a response. Deku seeing one of the whiskey bottles next to her, which does still have some whiskey towards the bottom. Before he turned to his own back, pulling out another bottle, popping off the top, and then beginning to have a bit of a drink. Right now, him taking down about a fourth of the bottle before he says stop. Him holding the whiskey in his breath and leaning back against the wall. Just trying to put the words to his mind. Put them together. Before he does go to swallow his drink and then bring the Pip-Boy up. Pressing for record. This is Izuku Midoriya. Day 123, 124. No, it's 123. We just haven't really slept. I haven't really slept. Listen, I am well aware I might sound a little out of it. I possibly am still in shock. Him staring at his fingers, the ones that are regrowing on his left hand. Earlier today, they encountered Tommy. They found him. However, he wasn't the same person he was before. He shot off 3 of his fingers and hit him in the side. And they later had to put down their ally. He was no longer mentally stable nor competent to endure the challenges ahead. Now that he's thinking about it, everyone back at the vault's probably worried. All of them are. They should have sent back a response, what, yesterday maybe? The days have been blending together. A lot of other priorities they've been having. They're being hunted. But going back to Tommy, he remembers them learning in training that an event like this is possible. Something happens or wounds too bad that a stimpak can't heal. You might have to stop prolonged suffering. I mean, you look at that in a book or you hear that from somebody. But what are you supposed to do when you're faced with it? I mean, he hesitated, but he still pulled the trigger. He didn't want Marcy to have to do that. He doesn't know what type of trials her and Chloe went through, but surviving up here has definitely been something, a learning experience. But we have yet to go through information on his Pip-Boy. We still have it with us as a way of recovery and information and data that we hope we can get to his family. If I do need to, I'll salvage what I can and put it on holotapes before we scrap it or potentially have to take parts from it. Marcy talked about something, but it's gonna take a little bit of time. Something to figure out. We're gonna need a lot more components before that does happen. This is Izuku signing off. Him pressing the button. Before he just sit there, his body going to relax a little bit. However, he doesn't hear a sound. Right now, him turning and going to grab his pistol. It on the ground next to him before he has a grab it and then look around. Before he has a listen again, hearing that hissing of the wind outside. Before he does a stand. Currently, him going to turn and look around, seeing a window that does face out at the top of the jail cell. Before he is to walk over and then go to somewhat jump up. Currently, him trying to get a peek to see what's going on. However, he can't exactly reach it, and that it does annoy him. They just need to move along, get to Prim, and then find Chloe. I mean, that's the idea. But they need to rest. Prim is supposed to be safe? Maybe. Nash. That's the thing she remembers. A traitor that goes by the name Nash? I mean, he doesn't know if that's a first name or a last name. The fact that some people still use them is a good sign. But still. Currently, him going to walk back over. Sitting down as Marcy does go to somewhat sit up. Her turning and seeing Izuku. Hmm? What's up? Didn't mean to wake you. I recorded a log. Listen, we need to go over the data. I know. I was hoping you'd try to talk me out of it. I mean, I'm still trying to rack my mind around what could have happened to him. Radiation exposure shouldn't be possible for mutants, right? I don't know. I mean, super mutants are supposed to be immune to radiation from what I've heard. True, but so are most radioactive creatures. They don't die from it. But if that's the case, then what could have happened to him? I mean, what did happen to him? As far as we're aware, weird thing with the situation we don't understand. One of us was exposed to an extensive amount of radiation. Enough rats to kill a human, I don't know, 50 times over? 100 times if he was there for a month? It just, it astounds me. Yeah. Plus, we've taken on some heavy rats. We have. But look at us. We're fine. I mean, I'm fine. Are you? I feel okay. Hell, I don't know. I don't think either of us will get a proper prognosis. But this is a question I've been thinking about for about the last hour. Tommy, from what you think, might have suffered brain damage, right? I've come to the same conclusion. Right, that's what I'm saying. This FEV crap made us faster, stronger, uh, more so than any human could do with training. I mean, look at my hand. I've already got most of my fucking palm back. My fingers are pretty damn well on their way to being full too. So, I don't want to just say this, but what if it wasn't his exposure to radiation that made him go crazy? What do you mean? He went feral, didn't he? The way he was acting, semi cohesive, but animalistic. I mean, he went straight for the food the moment he realized it would go to waste. He knew he couldn't waste any. He was more of an opportunistic predator, if you ask me. I didn't pick up on that. He seemed more cohesive, though, when we mentioned the vault. I know. And that's what kind of frightens me. He was able to hang on. He had that moment where everything just. I don't know. He stepped back in and then just walked back out. What if we end up like that? It's a little scary. I know. Maybe we do need Radaway. Or Radex just in case. We don't know if we'll need them, but it might be some at least good advice to have. Maybe you're right. Okay. At the very least, we're on the same track. Maybe it will at least help us figure this out. Maybe, but we still don't know what they fully did to us. I know. Don't get an attitude. I'm sorry. I just had to shoot someone. I know. All right? Besides, I just I want to go home. I know. I do too. We've still got to find Chloe and figure this out though. So are we gonna look at his Pip-Boy? Yeah, yeah, we can. Him gonna turn. Reno grabbing his whiskey bottle and then gonna glug down just a little bit more. And Marcy does Deku's definition of a little bit. Her turning and going to grab her own bottle before she has to scoot at least a bit closer to Izuku. Right now, him pulling the Pip-Boy out of his bag and then going to wipe away some of the Radaway they still had on it, since it might not be emitting any rads right now. And the two, they do go to someone sit there. Deku powering it back up and watching the boot up sequence. Before he does begin to switch through everything. Currently, him going to switch through the radio and see what Tommy might have had on. Okay, so nothing's on. Let's see. Internal settings. Huh. No, his Geiger counter was. Yeah, no, his Geiger counter is all messed up. I mean, they can look a bit back on this later, but this definitely needs to be looked into a little bit more. Them switching back over. Before Deku does it to find the internal notes. Right now, him gonna scroll back down and see the way these entries are labeled. I mean, some of them are titled day this, day that. Others are titled a little differently. And they do gonna find one that is titled Day 1. Deku pressing play. And he does gonna hear it. Hearing Tommy's voice. Entry 1. This is Tommy. Right now I'm trying to, I guess, gain my bearing and situational awareness. I don't know where I'm at. I've been trying to look and see, but There's still a lot trying to figure out. I can't find any landmarks. I'm out in the desert. I found a place to sleep, but it was too much out in the open. People attacked me, and I defended myself. I took some of their weapons, but, well, my vault suits. I have a bit more damage. I don't really think that it's a good idea for me to be wearing this thing out here. If we're correct, there are a few vaults in Vegas. I think there should be at least one that might have opened by now, but I don't know. I've heard mention of one being on the strip before, but that was a long, long time ago. If it's still there, we might be able to. I might be able to go there, find the residents, get some help. Maybe they know where my vault is. It does sound like an idea. Okay. Um, hang on. I'm looking around. Before he does, go talk about it. He thinks he sees a town in the distance. He's gonna go there. Then he's going to it begin to glitch out. Them hearing Tommy's voice beginning to somewhat warp and distort, turning into a little bit of static. And this, it is somewhat annoying. Him going to click the button before heading up to one of the other logs. And the two, they do begin to go through a little bit of this information. It's not much, but they're trying to piece it together. And then there is another sound. Deku hearing the whirling wind outside. Before he does, hear something smash against a wall. It sounding like their barricade was keeping something out. And he has a turn. Right now, him setting down the pit boy and then going to grab his weapon. Deku taking the handgun and getting up, walking over and going to try and listen at the door. However, he does still hear that wind. There's. No. That one guy a few days ago. He got past him. Is his hearing off? No, his hearing is fine. Paranoid? No. They're they're okay here. The door is barricaded out there. Hell, it'll last. It should. Him gonna sit back down. And Marcy does ask him if he's okay. Not really, no. But play the next one. Her tapping on the pit boy. And currently it does gonna play static. Them getting a few words in and then hearing it again. And they do try again. Playing the next log, then the next, then the next. But then they do get to hear a name. Nipton. And that, it does sound intriguing. Before there is another sound. Right now them hearing a voice. Before they do get to hear it cut back into static. And Marcy does get to make the pit boy play the next log. Before they do hear nothing but explosions and gunfire. Them hearing the rapid breathing of a man. Him turning and yelling for the fuckers to go ahead and keep trying to find him. Him firing off his weapon before they do hear the ping. And then Tommy, he does get a turn. Right now, him just shouting something before another explosion is going to get set off. And this, it is where the static does begin to cut in. Currently, them hearing a voice as something can be heard in the distance. And then, Tommy, he does climb back to his feet, continuing to run before he does talk about it. Right now, he's moving through the desert. He's gotta do something. Shit. Okay. They were ambushed this morning. They came out of nowhere. He's just gotta go. He's gotta run. Find a place to hide. Find a safe place. A gunshot ringing out. And Tommy, he's gonna feel something smashed on the back of his head. Right now, him screaming out in pain before he does sit there for a minute. Him going to begin to feel a lot more pain, screaming out in a bit more before he does then begin to emit a sound. Currently, him going to fly through the air, talking about it, and they do hear the wind, it nearly drowning out Tommy's voice. And this, it does have them concerned. Before they do, gonna stop this log, and they're gonna try and move on to the next one. Since with wind and static, there might not be much there. They can go back to it. But then they do to play this log and hear his voice. This is Tommy. I've I've been shot. My arm hurts. I think my leg is busted. I swore I took a shot to the head. I think it grazed me, but I don't know. There was a lot of blood. My my head hurts. It's I should be okay, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it. It's day day 50. I think it's day 50. I don't know. Information's getting a little scattered. I'm getting a little. I believe I'm suffering head trauma. Um, I ran out of stim packs. They they made me use my last few, and that place is gone. I don't know if there were any survivors, but it's up in flames, and I don't know. I just I keep thinking about this one thing. Both of them looking at each other. For Tommy does continue. He's had this dream before. He can't make sense of it. He had it last night while he was trying to get some sleep. I mean, what happens when their vault opens up? They all get out here. If this place has been anything to him but hostile, then, I mean, they'd be sending a lot of people out here to die. The weather's not too fun either. It's dry, it's hot. He swore he saw it raining the other day, but it might have just been a mirage. It sucks. He doesn't know. What was that? Him grabbing his weapon. Before he does, gonna stand up and begin to make his way through the highway station. Tommy going to fire a shot as the Pip-Boy it does hit a cutout. Tommy flipping his wrist and presumably handling the threat that was in front of him. And the two, they do go to sit there, wondering what to do now. And the next log, it's a little bit more incohesive. It's a little bit more bad. Tommy's there. I mean, it starts out fine, but he's already showing those symptoms, those signs of acting deranged. Maybe it was the cannibalism? I mean, it's supposed to do some shit to your brain, right? That could be a factor in it. And Marcy does even bring this up. Though Deku, he's not really too sure. And right now they do sit there. Currently, him going to sit down the Pip-Boy and talking about it. They've been doing this for a while. How about they just get some sleep and head to Prim? They can learn a lot more later. Yeah, that's fine. Her, right now, leaning a little bit on Deku. And Deku, he has been leaning back. They're stuck together. I mean, there are worse people to be stuck with, definitely, but this is just a little weird. Chloe, maybe? I mean, he could see things working out with her. They were definitely friendly, but he's not sure. Marcy has a good tactical mind, a good soldier, go with certain weapons. Medical wise, maybe better. Hmm. Though her skills are lacking in some areas. And there is Marcy, who herself, she's just happy not to be alone. I mean, she's still thinking about Tommy and what they did, how everything happened, how it all played out. And there's one thought nagging at her mind. Did he think that she could not pull the trigger? She would have. She was just about to. I mean, she was going to be the one who killed him. She would be proud of it, but the thing that she couldn't do it is what's making her mad. But it's not something to be. Ah, this is the conundrum. It's the only thing she can think about that won't drive her mad. It was a mercy kill, plain and simple. And that's all it was, a mercy kill. And Izuku, he does sit there, her turning and trying to ask him a question. However, Deku, he already has his eyes shut, his pistol still in his hand as he does sit there. Her, right now, going to somewhat turn herself. Before she does, go to grab the blanket out of the pack and then go to cover Izuku. Her also covering herself as she's trying to get comfortable against the wall. They've got to move tomorrow. Figure this all out and leave the station. But where would Chloe go? She. Hmm. She's talking about. Is there another town out there? A place maybe. Some place that she knows. No. Uh, no. Hang on a minute. There is one place she thinks that she saw in the distance. A structure, a landmark. Maybe, but was it? No, it wasn't the Vegas lights, nor was it that Lucky 38 place. Maybe it was. Uh, no, no. Shit. She's on the right track, but maybe she just needs some mentats. No, she can't spare them right now, but maybe just to help her mind. No, if she takes them right now, she'll be too active. She'll be talkative, and she does have to record her log, so right now, hold off on the mentats before she just overclocks her brain. Her going to turn the blanket and bring out her Pip-Boy, begin to record her own personal log. And with that being said, we do have the two who sit here inside the station and try to get some rest. However, the two, they did have a bit of an eventful little time. They're trying to figure this out. Find Chloe. Then use what they can to find Vault 16. That's the plan. And Prim might just be the place where they get a proper lead. Maybe? I mean, they're easy to spot, and it's a pretty hard face to forget. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.